The ancient vault doors opened with a sound that made everyone in the chamber step back. Dr. Omar Farsi watched as dust from 5 million years fell to the floor like snow. Nobody spoke. The excavation team had been working on this precursor site for 3 years, and today they finally broke through to the central archive. Ruth Hayes stood beside the alien researchers, her human eyes adjusting to the dim light inside. She was Earth's ambassador to the Galactic Council, but right now she felt more like a tourist. The precursors were long dead, gone before any current civilization even learned to make fire. Whatever they left behind was important enough to seal in a vault that took 3 years to crack. Inside the chamber, thousands of crystalline data cores floated in suspended animation fields. Each one glowed with a different color. Green ones, yellow ones, orange ones, and red ones lined the walls in neat rows. Threx, the bird-like council leader, moved forward with his scanning device. His feathers were puffed up, which Ruth had learned meant he was nervous. Each crystal contains complete planetary data, Threx explained, his translator device turning his chirps into words everyone could understand. The precursors mapped every world in this galaxy. They used colors to mark danger levels. Ruth looked at the walls. Most crystals were green or yellow, some were orange, a few were red. What do the colors mean? Green means safe, yellow means caution needed, orange means dangerous, red means Deathworld. Threx pointed at a red crystal. That one is Korat, where the Hive warriors evolved. Nothing grows there except crystals and things that eat crystals. It has a danger rating of 7 out of 10. Where's Earth? Ruth asked. The chamber went silent. Every alien researcher stopped moving. Threx's feathers flattened against his body. That was fear. Ruth had seen it before when discussing human customs like skydiving or shark diving. We found it this morning, Threx said quietly. It's in the back chamber, alone. They walked deeper into the vault. The back chamber was smaller, with only one crystal floating in the center. But this crystal wasn't green or yellow or orange or red. It was black, deep, absolute black that seemed to drink in the light around it. Ruth approached it slowly. Around the black crystal, someone had carved warning symbols into the walls. She didn't need a translator to understand them: skulls, broken ships, fleeing figures. This is Earth. Yes, Threx whispered. Dr. Farsi connected his scanner to the crystal. Data flooded the screens around them. Ruth read the header information and felt her stomach drop. Classification: absolute black. Observer mortality rate: 100%. Recommended action: eternal quarantine. Keep reading, Threx said. Ruth scrolled through the file. The precursors had sent 47 expeditions to Earth. 47 teams of researchers, explorers, and scientists. Every single one died. Not some, not most, all of them. The longest any team survived was 18 hours. The shortest was 4 hours. The last entry, Threx said, pulling up a video recording. This is Architect Vel, the precursor's best planetary expert. He led the final expedition personally. The hologram showed a creature that looked like a cross between an octopus and a spider. Architect Vel stood in a lush green forest, Earth's forest. The video had timestamps. Hour 1, Vel and his team were excited, cataloging thousands of species. Hour 2, they noticed something strange. Every organism was watching them, testing them. Hour 3, first casualty. Something pulled a researcher into a river. Hour 4, the team was running. Things were hunting them. Flying things, crawling things. Swimming things. Hour 6, only Vel remained. His final message showed him huddled in his landing craft, too damaged to take off. They're learning, he said in his dying breath. Everything here learns, adapts, competes. This isn't just a planet, it's a testing ground. It's evolution weaponized. Whatever wins here will be unstoppable. The video ended. The insects that killed Vel were clearly visible in the final frames. Regular Earth insects. They had learned in 6 hours how to penetrate precursor technology that had protected researchers on hundreds of worlds. Ruth felt every alien eye in the chamber staring at her. I don't understand. If Earth is that deadly, how are humans alive? Threx pulled up more data. Earth has 10 million species. The average Deathworld has 50,000. Earth has had 5 major extinction events in 500 million years. Each time, 90% of all life died, but life came back stronger, more competitive, more intelligent. Other death worlds are dangerous because of one or two factors, Dr. Farsi added, reading the screens. Extreme. Weather, toxic atmosphere, predators. Earth has all of them, plus plate tectonics that constantly destroy ecosystems, plus an unstable climate that swings from ice age to tropical every 100,000 years, plus a moon that creates massive tides, plus oxygen levels that fluctuate wildly. The precursors studied Earth for 500,000 years from orbit, Threx continued. They concluded that any species achieving intelligence on Earth would be the most dangerous organism in galactic history, not because of aggression, because of adaptation, because of competition, because Earth doesn't just kill, it trains. Ruth looked at the black crystal again. You're saying Earth made humans into weapons. Not weapons, Threx corrected. Champions, winners. Your world spent millions of years running a tournament where only the best survive. You didn't just pass the test. You conquered it so completely that you got bored and invented harder challenges. You climb mountains for fun. You swim with predators for entertainment. You jump from aircraft voluntarily. That's normal, Ruth protested. No, Threx said firmly. That's the proof. You think seeking danger is normal. Every other species in this galaxy thinks safety is normal. That's the difference. That's why Earth is classified absolute black, not because it's deadly, but because it creates things like you. 2 weeks later, Ruth stood in the Council's main assembly hall watching scientists project data onto screens the size of buildings. Every member species had sent representatives. The gallery was packed with thousands of aliens, all staring at the information about Earth with expressions ranging from curiosity to terror. Dr. Farsi walked to the center platform. His voice echoed through the chamber. We've spent 14 days analyzing the precursor data. What we've found changes everything we thought we knew about planetary classification. The main screen lit up with a comparison chart. On the left side was Korat, the famous hive warrior homeworld. On the right was Earth. The numbers told a story that made the entire gallery gasp. Korat is considered the most dangerous death world in known space, Dr. Farsi explained. Surface temperature reaches 60 degrees in the day, drops to -40 at night. The atmosphere contains sulfur dioxide. Native predators have armor-plated skin and acid blood. The danger rating is 7.3. Out of 10, he switched to Earth's data. Earth's average temperature is 15 degrees, comfortable. The atmosphere is 78% nitrogen, 21% oxygen, perfect for life. Native predators include cats, dogs, and birds. It should be rated green for safe. But it's rated absolute black, Ambassador Krill said from the gallery. The dolphin-like alien's water tank rippled with agitation. Why? Because the precursors didn't rate worlds based on immediate danger, Dr. Farsi replied. They rated them based on evolutionary pressure. How hard does a world push its inhabitants to evolve? How intense is the competition for survival? New data appeared. Ruth watched as her colleague explained what made Earth unique. The planet's axial tilt was perfect for creating seasons, but those seasons weren't gentle. Earth swung from ice ages to warm periods every 100,000 years. Most worlds stayed stable for millions of years. Earth changed constantly. The planet's surface was broken into plates that moved and crashed together, creating mountains and destroying coastlines. Volcanoes erupted, earthquakes struck, tsunamis swept across oceans. Other worlds had maybe one or two of these features. Earth had all of them happening simultaneously. Then there's the moon, Dr. Farsi continued. Earth's moon is proportionally the largest in the galaxy for a planet of Earth's size. It creates massive tidal forces. Twice a day, entire coastlines flood and drain. This created intertidal zones where organisms must survive underwater for hours, then in air for hours. Nowhere else does this happen. Ambassador Krill raised a tentacle. My world has oceans. We evolved in stable depths with consistent pressure and temperature. Are you saying Earth's oceans are different? Completely, Dr. Farsi confirmed. Earth's oceans have zones from surface to depths of 11,000 meters. Each zone has different pressure, temperature, light levels, and chemistry. A creature from the surface would be crushed in the deep. A creature from the deep would explode at the surface. Yet life exists at every level. Life that learned to handle massive pressure changes. The gallery erupted in confused chatter. Threx called for silence. Continue, Doctor. Earth's oxygen levels have fluctuated between 10 and 35% over the last 500 million years, Dr. Farsi said. During high oxygen periods, insects grew to enormous sizes. When oxygen dropped, only efficient species survived. This constant change meant specialization was deadly. Only adaptable species made it. He pulled up images of Earth's extinction events. The screens showed 5 massive die-offs, each killing over 70% of all species. These weren't random, Dr. Farsi explained. Each extinction was a reset button. Earth wiped the board clean and made survivors start over with new rules. Asteroid impact, survive that. Volcanic winter, survive that. Ocean acidification, survive that. What kind of planet kills its own children? Someone shouted from the gallery. A planet that's training champions, Threx answered quietly. Keep going, Doctor. Dr. Farsi showed comparison data of species intelligence. The average non-Deathworld species has cognitive ability equivalent to Earth's simple invertebrates. The average Deathworld species matches Earth's insects. But the average Earth species matches other worlds' apex predators in problem-solving ability. He played videos of Earth animals. Octopuses opening jars, ravens using tools, dolphins using sponges as protective gear, elephants mourning their dead, wolves coordinating complex hunts. Even Earth's insects showed planning and communication that would be impressive in spacefaring species. Your pets are smarter than our wildlife, Ambassador Krill admitted. We thought humans were unique, but you're just the top of Earth's intelligence pyramid. Exactly, Dr. Farsi agreed. Humans aren't special because we're from Earth. We're special because everything from Earth is special. We just happen to develop sapience first. Ruth stepped forward. Show them the human timeline. New data appeared. The precursors had analyzed human evolution in detail. Humans evolved in just 2 million years during the most unstable period in Earth's climate history. Most species took 50 to 100 million years to reach sapience. Humans did it in 2% of that time. Why so fast? Threx asked, though Ruth suspected he already knew. Because slow learners died, Ruth answered. Earth during human evolution swung between ice ages and warm periods every 40,000 years. Humans couldn't specialize, we had to be good at everything. Hunt in forests, yes. Hunt on plains, yes. Hunt in snow, yes. Fish in oceans, yes. Climb trees, yes. Run long distances, yes. Make tools, yes. Communicate complex ideas, yes. She pulled up an image of a human compared to a Korat hive warrior. The hive warriors are stronger than humans, faster than humans. Their armor can stop bullets, but put a hive warrior in a new environment, and they'll apply the same tactics they've used for 10 million years. Put a human in a new environment, and within a generation, we'll have new tools, new strategies, and new social structures specifically designed for that environment. Earth didn't make us the strongest, Ruth concluded. It made us the most adaptable, and in a galaxy full of stable worlds that produce specialized species, adaptability is the ultimate superpower. Military Commander Admiral Tor watched the human delegation enter the war room with barely concealed fascination. The massive armored alien had fought in 17 campaigns across 12 worlds. He understood strength. What he was seeing now confused him. Ruth Hayes looked small compared to most species in the room. Her clothing was simple fabric that wouldn't stop even a basic plasma round. She carried no weapons, no armor, no visible enhancements. Yet every military commander in the chamber watched her with an intensity usually reserved for dangerous predators. Let's begin, Tor said, his voice rumbling through the speakers. We need to assess humanity's military capabilities for the defense grid, standard evaluation, physical assessment first. A human medical officer named Linda Wu stepped forward. We've prepared comparison data. She pulled up a holographic human body next to bodies from 6 other military species. Let's start with endurance. The numbers appeared. Tor read them twice, certain there was an error. These can't be correct. This says humans can run for 8 hours without stopping. 10 hours if properly trained, Linda corrected. Humans are persistence hunters. We evolved to chase prey until it collapsed from exhaustion. No other sapient species has this ability. Why would you need to run for 10 hours? Asked Commander Brix, a reptilian species known for their sprint speed. We evolved ambush tactics, fast strike, quick kill. Because Earth's prey evolved to run from Earth's predators, Linda explained. So humans evolved to keep running longer. It's not about speed, it's about never stopping, ever. She pulled up more data. Human healing rates exceed galactic norms by a factor of 10. Broken bones. Repair in 6 weeks. Deep cuts seal in days. We can survive blood loss that would kill most species instantly. We've documented cases of humans surviving with major organs damaged or completely removed. Impossible, Brix snorted. The body shuts down without proper organ function. Human bodies have redundancy, Linda countered. We have 2 kidneys but only need 1, 2 lungs but can survive with 1. Our liver regenerates from as little as 25% remaining tissue. Even our brain has backup systems. Damage one area and other areas adapt to compensate. Tor felt his confidence wavering. What about environmental tolerance? The temperature ranges appeared on screen. Tor stared at them in disbelief. Humans function in temperatures from -40 to +50 degrees. -60 if properly clothed, Linda said. +60 in dry climates. Humans live everywhere on Earth, frozen Arctic to burning deserts, mountain peaks to underground caves. We even have humans who choose to live in these extreme locations permanently. My species has a comfort range of 12 degrees, admitted Ambassador Krill. Outside that range, we enter hibernation to avoid death. You're saying humans just put on different clothing and continue normally? Yes, Linda confirmed. Earth taught us that environment is just another problem to solve. Cold, make fire hot, find shade, no water, travel until you find some, no food. Hunt something new, can't hunt, eat plants, can't find plants, eat insects. Humans have eaten over 300,000 different species. We're not picky. Captain David Osai stood up. The human military strategist had been quiet until now. Physical abilities are one thing. Let's talk about warfare. He pulled up tactical data from humanity's first contact scenarios. In 73 separate first meetings with new species, humans were evaluated for combat capability. Every single time, within 30 seconds, the human delegation had identified defensive positions, weapon ranges, escape routes, and tactical vulnerabilities of everyone in the room. You were evaluating us as threats. Tor felt his armor plates rise defensively, even during peaceful meetings. We didn't mean to, David admitted. It's instinct. Earth trained us to assess danger constantly. Every human does it automatically. We meet someone new and part of our brain is calculating what we'd do if they attacked. Where would we go? What would we use as a weapon? Who else is nearby? What's the lighting? What's the terrain? He played a recording from a first contact meeting 6 years ago. Tor recognized it. He had been there. The video showed human ambassador greeting the alien delegation. But David froze the frame and highlighted the human's eye movements. Watch her scan the room, David narrated. 3 seconds. She's identified 4 exit routes, noted which aliens are armed, positioned herself with her back to a wall, maintained distance from the largest aliens, and placed herself near a heavy table that could serve as cover or a barricade. She looked friendly, Tor protested. She was smiling. She was friendly, David agreed. Humans can assess threats while being genuinely peaceful. It's not contradictory to us, it's just being prepared. He pulled up another recording. The incident Tor had tried to forget. His species had tested humanity with a staged combat scenario during a diplomatic function. They'd triggered alarms, sealed doors, and released harmless but intimidating combat drones to see how humans reacted under pressure. "We expected panic or surrender," Tor admitted quietly. "Those are normal responses." The video showed what actually happened. In 30 seconds, the 20 human delegates had flipped tables into defensive barriers, organized into tactical units with clear command structure, and disabled 3 drones using improvised weapons made from decorative fixtures. One human had even started hacking the door controls. "You weren't scared at all," Tor realized watching the video again. "You were excited." "Earth taught us that danger is solvable," David explained. "We're not fearless. We just automatically start solving problems when threatened, fight or flight. Humans do both simultaneously while calling for backup and planning 3 moves ahead." Ruth stood again. "There's something else the precursors documented, something that bothers you more than our physical abilities." She pulled up the final analysis. "Human cooperation patterns are unique. Most species only trust genetic relatives. Humans form alliances with strangers, even former enemies. We build nations from thousands of family groups who aren't related. We create organizations with millions of members who never meet. We trust legal systems, economic systems, and social systems that connect us to billions of other humans will never know." "This is normal," Brick said uncertainly. "No," Ruth corrected. "It's not. Check your own history. Your species lives in family clusters of 20 to 30. You trust your siblings. Everyone else is competition. Humans lived in family groups too once. But Earth was so competitive that we learned cooperation with strangers was the only way to survive. We formed tribes, then villages, then cities, then nations. We went from trusting 5 relatives to trusting 5 billion strangers in just 10,000 years." The alert came during a routine council session. Red warning lights flooded the chamber as Admiral Tor rushed to the main display. Ruth watched the color drain from his face, which was impressive given he didn't have much blood visible through his armor plating. "Devourers," Tor announced, his voice hollow. "Long-range sensors detected them at the galaxy's edge. Their fleet is massive, at least 300 bioships." The gallery erupted in panic. Species representatives shouted over each other, demanding answers, calling for evacuation plans. Ruth had learned about the Devourers in history class. Ancient enemy. Consumed 40 civilizations 10,000 years ago, drove them back at enormous cost. Everyone hoped they'd died out in deep space. Ambassador Krill's water tank sloshed violently. "How long until they reach the outer colonies?" 6 weeks at current speed," Tor reported. "We need to implement Protocol 7, evacuate outer colonies, consolidate defenses at core worlds, and wait for them to lose interest." "Wait," Ruth heard herself say. "Just wait." "It's the standard response," Threx explained quietly. "Devourers are void-adapted predators. They consume everything in their path but eventually move on to new hunting grounds. We defend what we can and abandon what we can't." Ruth looked around the chamber. Every alien face showed resignation. They were already accepting massive losses as inevitable. Has anyone tried attacking them? The chamber went silent. Tor stared at her like she'd suggested breathing vacuum. "Attack! They're the Devourers. They've conquered 40 civilizations. They use biological warfare that turns species into mindless servants. Their ships are alive and adapt to weapons fire. Their soldiers are perfect killing machines." "So they're apex predators," Ruth said simply. "Got it." She activated her communication. "Device, this is Ambassador Hayes. Activate human military protocol, full mobilization. I need every fleet commander in the war room in 6 hours." The council watched in confusion as Ruth walked out. Threx followed her into the corridor. "Ruth, you can't be serious. The entire galaxy is preparing to defend. You want to attack." "Earth didn't teach us to hide," Ruth replied. "Earth taught us that apex predators are just animals with good tactics, and animals can be hunted." 6 hours later, Ruth entered the war room to find it packed. Human military commanders filled every available space. Admiral Grace Park stood by the main display, already reviewing Devourer movement patterns. General Hassan Kofi was coordinating fleet positions. Admiral Robert Lynn was analyzing their bioship composition. Status, Ruth ordered. Devourers hit 3 outer colonies, Grace reported. Complete consumption, no survivors. They're using swarm tactics. Millions of small organisms overwhelm defenses, then larger forms move in to consume infrastructure and biomass. Classic predator behavior, Hassan added. They're testing defenses, learning patterns. They'll adapt their approach based on what works. Ruth studied the tactical display. The Devourers were moving in a pattern she recognized. Pack hunting. Send scouts ahead, probe for weakness, commit the main force when you find an opening. They're not mindless, they're efficient. Exactly, Robert agreed. They operate on the same principles as Earth's apex predators. Conserve energy, strike weak points, overwhelm prey with numbers. Then we know how to fight them, Ruth concluded. We've been fighting Earth's apex predators for 2 million years. The human commanders began planning with an efficiency that would have terrified the Council if they'd witnessed it. No panic, no resignation, just cold, tactical analysis. 3 days later, Captain David Osai led the first human engagement against Devourer scouts near a dying colony. The alien forces had already evacuated, writing off the colony as lost. David took 300 human Marines in anyway. Tor watched the battle feed from orbit, certain he was about to witness a massacre. The Devourers had sent thousands of organisms into the colony. Tooth and claw and acid, creatures that could tear through steel and adapt to energy weapons. Instead, he watched humans hunt. The Marines didn't defend positions. They created kill zones, collapsed buildings to funnel Devourer organisms into crossfire, set traps using the colony's infrastructure, used Devourer corpses as bait to lure more into ambushes. Within an hour, they weren't reacting to Devourer tactics. They were predicting them. They're treating this like sport, Tor muttered, watching a human squad use mining explosives to collapse a tunnel at precisely the right moment to trap a Devourer heavy warrior. Not sport, Threx corrected, having joined Tor on the command deck. Practice. This is what humans do on Earth for entertainment, hunt dangerous animals. They're just applying the same techniques. By hour 3, the Marines had cleared the colony and captured 7 live Devourer specimens. David's report was clinically brief. Targets neutralized, colony secured, specimens ready for analysis. Dr. Farsi examined the captured Devourers with the same detached interest he'd show studying Earth insects. Fascinating. Acid blood for defense. Rapid cellular adaptation for offense. Hive mind communication for coordination. On any other world, these would be unstoppable apex predators. And on Earth, Tor asked. Earth has Portuguese man-o'-war jellyfish, Omar said casually. Acid tentacles that can kill a human in minutes. Humans swim in oceans with them for fun. He pointed at the Devourer specimen. This is just a bigger, uglier jellyfish. Linda Wu was already dissecting another specimen. Standard predator anatomy, vulnerable nervous system concentrated here, respiratory organs here, optical sensors here. Their adaptation ability is impressive but not instant. There's a 12-second lag between detecting a threat and adapting to it. That's exploitable. Within 2 days, humans had identified 17 critical weaknesses in Devourer biology. Within 4 days, they developed countermeasures to Devourer biological weapons using modified Earth bacteria. Within a week, they trained 5,000 Marines in anti-Devourer tactics. The Devourers, for the first time in recorded history, encountered prey that studied them back. Their next attack came with 20 times the force. 200 bioships hit a human defensive position expecting easy victory. Instead, they found humans who'd adapted their tactics, deployed Earth-based biological weapons, and fought with a coordination that matched the Devourer hive mind. Admiral Grace Park watched from her flagship as human forces boarded 12 Devourer ships simultaneously. They're trying to overwhelm us with numbers. That's a Earth tactic. They're copying us. Let them, Ruth said calmly. Earth spent 4 billion years perfecting Earth tactics. They've had, what, 10,000 years, their students pretending to be masters. The Devourer hive mind made its first tactical retreat in 10,000 years. After losing 14 bioships to human forces, it pulled back to analyze. The Council celebrated. Ruth knew better. They're not running, she told the War Council. They're regrouping, learning, adapting their approach. Admiral Tor nodded grimly. Agreed. Initial combat reports show Devourer tactics evolving each engagement. They're testing us systematically. 3 days later, sensors detected the Devourer fleet changing course. Not toward outer colonies, toward the inner systems, specifically toward Sol's system, toward Earth. They're ignoring other targets, Grace Park reported. 80% of their fleet is redirecting to Earth. They're hunting humanity specifically. Threx arrived at human command immediately. We can help defend Earth. The entire Council fleet is at your disposal. Bring them, Ruth said. But understand something. You're about to see what the precursors discovered. 500 Devourer bioships entered Sol's system, the largest attack force assembled in recorded history. They bypassed Mars, ignored the outer planet stations, and headed straight for Earth. Millions of warrior organisms prepared for deployment. The Council fleet formed defensive positions, outnumbered 20-1. Alien commanders transmitted final messages to their homeworlds, expecting total defeat. Human forces positioned themselves calmly, almost casually. Admiral Tor opened a channel to Ruth's flagship. Your world is about to be invaded by millions of perfect killers. Where are your defenses? Ruth smiled. Everywhere. The Devourer landing craft entered Earth's atmosphere carrying 100,000 warrior organisms. They deployed to every continent: Amazon rainforest, African savanna, Australian outback, Asian forests, North American wilderness, deep oceans, remote islands. Tor watched the deployment, confused. The human military isn't responding. Why aren't they defending their cities? They don't need to, Threx said quietly, understanding dawning in his eyes. The cities aren't the targets the Devourers should worry about. In the Amazon, Devourer warriors landed in the dense rainforest canopy. Within minutes, they encountered Earth's reality. Bullet ants whose sting caused waves of pain that lasted for hours. Poison dart frogs that secreted toxins with no known antidote. Parasitic fungi that invaded organisms and controlled their behavior. Army ants that traveled in colonies of 20 million, consuming everything in their path. The Devourers, apex predators across 40 worlds, found themselves in an environment where they weren't even the top 100 threats. In Africa, Devourer heavy warriors landed on the savannah expecting easy conquest. Instead, they encountered elephants that weighed 6 tons and could flip vehicles. Hippos that killed more humans annually than any other large animal. Crocodiles that could death roll prey 3 times their size. Lions that hunted in coordinated prides with tactics refined over millions of years. Admiral Grace transmitted the combat footage to the Council fleet. Notice the pattern. Earth's wildlife isn't fleeing. It's investigating, testing, hunting. In Australia, Devourers landed and immediately understood why humans called it the deadliest continent. Snakes with venom that caused paralysis in minutes. Spiders whose bite caused necrosis. Jellyfish that could kill with a touch. Octopuses that could camouflage, problem-solve, and escape from sealed containers. Cassowaries that could disembowel threats with their claws. The Devourers are trying to retreat to orbit, Tor reported, watching his tactical display in disbelief. They're losing ground forces across every landing zone. Earth's wildlife has been competing with each other for 4 billion years, Ruth explained calmly. The Devourers are just new competition. Earth's organisms are doing what they always do: adapt, attack, consume. In Earth's oceans, Devourer aquatic forms discovered they'd made a critical error. Great white sharks that could detect electrical signals from miles away. Orcas that hunted in pods with complex communication. Giant squid that could drag down creatures 10 times their size. Portuguese man-o'-war that drifted in colonies, their tentacles loaded with toxins. Dr. Farsi provided commentary from the human research vessel. Earth's oceans contain 300,000 known species. We've probably only discovered 10% of what's actually there. The Devourers are encountering things we don't even have names for yet. The Devourer fleet in orbit realized their ground forces were being systematically destroyed. They attempted orbital bombardment. Human ships engaged immediately, but something else happened that nobody expected. Earth's ecosystem began releasing defensive compounds into the atmosphere. Not weapons, not designed responses, just normal biological processes from trillions of organisms responding to threat. Spores from fungi, bacteria from soil, pollen from plants, microorganisms from the ocean. The Devourer bioships, being living organisms themselves, encountered Earth's microbiology. 1 trillion species of bacteria, 10 trillion viruses, microorganisms that had spent 4 billion years competing with each other. They treated the Devourer bioships like any other potential host. "The bioships are dying," Hassan reported, his voice filled with something between horror and admiration. "Not from weapons, from infection. Earth bacteria are colonizing them." Admiral Robert pulled up the analysis. Devourers have immune systems adapted to 40 different worlds. Earth has bacteria adapted to compete with each other for 4 billion years. There's no contest. Tor watched the battle feed in stunned silence. The Devourers, conquerors of civilizations, were being defeated by a planet, not by its people, by its ecosystem. "I don't understand," Tor admitted. "How did your planet coordinate this response?" "It didn't," Ruth answered. "This is just Tuesday for Earth. Every organism on our planet deals with this level of competition constantly. The Devourers are just another set of organisms trying to survive in Earth's ecosystem, and Earth's ecosystem doesn't care about their reputation." In human cities, people watched the battle on screens. Children asked questions, adults provided context. "Are the animals winning against the aliens?" one child asked. Her parent nodded. "Yes, that's why we don't try to conquer nature on Earth. We learn to negotiate with it instead." The Devourer hive mind did something unprecedented. It sent a communication, not to the Council, not to humanity, to every species in the galaxy simultaneously. The message was simple, terrifying in its implications. "Warning, homeworld designation Earth. Classification absolute black confirmed. Species achieved sapience while coexisting with planetary. Ecosystem rated beyond measurement scale. Do not engage, do not threaten, do not approach." 3 words followed that made the entire galaxy go silent. "This is Apex." The Devourer fleet jumped to faster-than-light speed, abandoning the entire sector. The most feared enemy in galactic history ran from a planet that hadn't even deployed its military in full force. The council chamber filled slowly over the next hours as representatives processed what they'd witnessed. Ruth stood before them, no longer just an ambassador. Earth had proven something the precursors warned about 5 million years ago. Humanity wasn't just another species. They were Earth's ambassadors to a galaxy that had never encountered anything like their homeworld. "We need to discuss classification protocols," Threx began, his voice shaky. "Earth is clearly beyond our understanding. The precursors were correct. Absolute black isn't just a danger rating, it's a statement of fundamental difference." Ambassador Krill's water rippled. "Your planet defended itself, without military intervention, without weapons, just natural ecosystem processes. How is this possible?" Dr. Farsi stepped forward, his tablet loaded with analysis data. "Earth's ecosystem operates on principles that don't exist elsewhere. Competition isn't occasional, it's constant. Every organism on Earth is simultaneously predator and prey. Everything eats and gets eaten. Even plants wage chemical warfare against each other." He pulled up comparative data. On Ambassador Krill's homeworld, organisms evolved in stable depths with consistent pressure and temperature. Competition was minimal. On Earth, Organisms evolved in conditions that changed constantly. Ice ages, warm periods, oxygen fluctuations, sea level changes. Nothing stayed stable long enough for specialization to be safe. "What you're describing is chaos," said Commander Brix. "How does intelligence emerge from chaos?" "It doesn't emerge from chaos," Ruth corrected. "It emerges from pattern recognition in chaos. Earth forced every organism to predict the unpredictable, read patterns in random data, adapt faster than conditions change. The organisms that couldn't do this died. The ones that could survived and bred." She walked to the center platform. "Humans aren't special because we're smart. We're special because Earth made intelligence mandatory for survival. Our ancestors who couldn't predict weather. Patterns died in ice ages. Our ancestors who couldn't track animal migration patterns starved. Our ancestors who couldn't recognize poisonous plants died from toxins. Intelligence wasn't an advantage on Earth. It was the minimum requirement." Admiral Tor stood. "I've fought 17 campaigns. I understand warfare. What I witnessed today wasn't warfare. It was something else entirely. Your planet has an immune system, a planetary-scale immune system that treats threats like infections." "That's accurate," Linda Wu confirmed. "Earth has experienced 5 major extinction events. Each time the ecosystem recovered stronger than before. Not because of design, because of competition. Every extinction created opportunities. The organisms that filled those opportunities were the ones that could adapt fastest, compete most effectively, and survive in unstable conditions." She pulled up a timeline of Earth's history. 4 billion years of continuous warfare at every scale. Bacteria competing with bacteria, fungi competing with plants, animals competing with each other, even viruses competing with immune systems. Earth isn't stable because nothing ever wins permanently. The moment one organism dominates, something else evolves to challenge it. "And humans?" Threx asked. "Where do you fit in this eternal war?" "We negotiated a truce," Ruth answered. "We didn't conquer Earth. We learned to work with it. We domesticated animals but didn't eliminate their wild relatives. We farmed land but left ecosystems intact. We built cities but maintained wilderness. We learned that trying to dominate Earth was suicide, so we became partners with it instead." General Hassan added context. "Every human city exists because Earth allows it. We maintain balance. We plant trees. We protect endangered species. We clean pollution. Not because we're nice. Because we learned that Earth responds to imbalance with correction, and Earth's corrections are extinction-level events." The gallery was silent. Species that had evolved on stable worlds struggled to comprehend a planet that functioned through constant controlled catastrophe. Ambassador Krill asked the question everyone was thinking. "What does this mean for the galaxy? You've proven Earth is beyond our classification systems. You've proven your ecosystem can defeat invasion forces. What happens now?" Ruth considered carefully. "The Council offered to classify Earth as a protected homeworld. We accept with conditions. Earth will welcome visitors, will share knowledge, trade, culture, but understand something fundamental." She pulled up an image of Earth from orbit, blue and green and beautiful and deadly. "Every human you meet carries Earth inside them. We evolved with 10 million other species competing for survival. We learned to cooperate with strangers because Earth taught us that isolation meant death. We learned to innovate constantly because Earth taught us that specialization meant extinction. We learned to endure hardship because Earth taught us that comfort was temporary." "We're not warriors," Ruth continued. "We're survivors. There's a difference. Warriors seek glory. Survivors seek continuation. Warriors fight until they win or die. Survivors fight until they find a way forward." Dr. Farsi added the scientific perspective. "Earth is still evolving, still competing, still changing. Humans are just one part of that system. We achieved sapience first, but we're not alone in intelligence. Earth has dolphins with complex language, elephants with culture, octopuses with problem-solving abilities, ravens with tool use. We're not Earth's only success story. We're just the first to leave the planet." "Which means," Threx said slowly, understanding dawning, "Earth could produce other sapient species in the future." Possibly, Ruth agreed. Earth doesn't stop, ever. In another million years, maybe dolphins develop technology. Maybe elephants form civilizations. Maybe something we haven't even noticed becomes the next sapient species. Earth keeps trying different approaches until something works. She looked around the chamber. The precursors classified Earth as absolute black and recommended eternal quarantine. They were wrong about the quarantine, but right about the classification. Earth isn't just a death world, it's the ultimate testing ground, the final trial, the apex of evolutionary pressure. Admiral Tor stood in respect, his armor plates forming a salute position his species reserved for worthy opponents. Humanity represents not the strongest species from Earth, but the most adaptable. The galaxy recognizes this. One by one, every species representative stood in their own cultural gesture of respect. They finally understood what the precursors had discovered 5 million years ago. Earth wasn't just dangerous, it was transformative. Any species that survived it would be extraordinary, and humanity had done more than survive. They had thrived so completely that they'd looked at their deadly homeworld and decided it was worth protecting. Ruth smiled as Earth rotated below, beautiful and terrible and home. Welcome to Earth, where even the butterflies are survivors.